Your boy trusts Washington.
Okay.
So the game of football isn't about where have you been. It's not even necessarily about where are you going. It's about where are you right now. Where are you right now? The Cowboys have been much higher highs than Washington. The Cowboys may go a much further distance than Washington, but if y'all pay attention to where the two teams are right now, Washington is in a much better position right now. Marcellus and I talk about this ad nauseum. The game of football you assess in 4-game cycles. You assess that. What has the team been doing the last 4 weeks of the season? Because that's the most up-to-date kind of order to tell you how good a football team is. It's not about what happened week 1. It's not about what's going to happen next year, but what's happened over the course of the last 4 weeks. Even Taylor Heineke has outperformed Dak Prescott the last 4 weeks of the season. Because the last 4 weeks, Taylor Heineke's completion percentage much higher. His wins much more. Pass rating, much more significant. Passing touchdowns greater and interceptions lesser. So it's not about where Dak Prescott has come from, and it surely is not about where Dak Prescott is going. But who's Dak Prescott right now, and who's Taylor Heineke right now? Taylor Heineke's playing better. Obviously, there are extenuating circumstances. Cowboys, they haven't been able to find their groove. You could make the optimistic assumption that the Cowboys will find their groove, but if I'm just assessing where are these two teams right now, I trust Washington. I trust Washington this weekend. I trust Washington because not only are they winning games, it'd be one thing, Marcellus, Wiley, if they were winning games over the Texans, the Jaguars, the Lions, but they're winning games over the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The odds on MVP favorite, Tom Brady. They're winning games against the Las Vegas Raiders, those same Raiders that had to go into Dallas and beat the Dallas Cowboys. I'll give it to you like this, and I'll be done with my first lap. If you look at the last 4 games that Washington has won, they beat the Super Bowl champs and the Super Bowl favorites in the Bucs. Then they messed around and beat the hottest team, most energized team emotionally in football. Not hottest, most energized, the Carolina Panthers. Then they went out and beat the hungriest quarterback in football because he had to be Russell Wilson coming off of his injury. And then they beat the same team that beat the Cowboys with the largest audience since 1993, the Las Vegas Raiders. So not only is Washington playing well right now, they're playing well against a team that has more motivation off the field than Washington. Not on the field, but more motivation off the field than Washington. For that reason, I trust Washington this weekend.
Oh, man. Sierra ain't cooking? You talking about Russell Wilson's the hungriest quarterback? What you talking about? Man, I trust the Dallas Cowboys. And I know that you don't trust the Washington football team. How can you trust a team without a mascot? First of all, I mean, come on, this is sports. Let's keep it simple. Acho, I know why you don't trust Washington, because trust is earned, not given. And you're giving this team some trust. You're giving this team and Taylor Heineke your trust, but they haven't earned it. Let's talk about earning your trust, because it's a difference between I trust a team, the Cowboys, and you believe you trust in Washington. I am big. Look at me, big dog. I am big, right? Now, what if I came up here and said, I believe I am big? You'd be like, why you believe it? Let's look. And let's look at the Dallas Cowboys against the Washington football team. And then let's look at Taylor Heineke versus the Dallas Cowboys, shall we? Because this is not about, I believe that the Cowboys should be trusted. I just trust them. 7-1 is Dak Prescott against this Washington football team in his career. Let's look at Taylor Heineke, who you believe you trust in. Oh, well, did not play. Oh, well, inactive. Oh, that's it. So you believe in trusting in him because now you want to try and cook the books and time shift. You come up to me and say, Marcellus, I trust in him because you know football's in a 4-game cycle. And football's not based on what you've done, but what are you doing right now? Right now is the key part of that conversation. Right now, you don't know what the Washington football team is going to do when they face the Dallas Cowboys. You don't. You don't know what they're going to do with Taylor Heineke because you've never seen it. Remember, it has to be earned, not given. So I look at this situation of, well, since we don't know what they're going to do when they line up at that hour, that moment, that second, let's just look at the best indicator of future behavior. Past behavior, and past behavior with these two common teams. You don't have anything of resume from Taylor Heineke or the Washington football teams that says you should have trust in them, but of course, you believe you do.
So it's different teams, different years, different organizations, different players.
Different weeks.
For sure, different weeks, and I'll give you that one as well.
All right.
But what I know is Dak Prescott, 21-6, I believe, versus division in his career. Mm-hmm. It's not the same Washington football team, because I also know that Dak Prescott, when he faces teams with records below 500, he dominates.
Oh, yeah.
But when Dak Prescott has to see teams that are 500 or better, it is a much different story. Let me tell you why I trust Washington. Because the Cowboys do not trust themselves. I was never a coach, so it's hard for me to speak on being a coach. Can speak on being a player, can speak on being a starter, not for very long. Can surely speak on being a role player, but I can't speak on being a coach.
Okay.
Who can? Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera, when he was asked about Mike McCarthy's comments, remember, Mike McCarthy guaranteed the Cowboys will win.
Oh, we'll
get to that more later. When
Yeah.
Ron Rivera was asked about Mike McCarthy's comments, he said you do that for one of two reasons. Now, the second reason in which you do that for is because you're trying to convince your team of something. You guarantee a victory because you're trying to convince your team you can win. The only time you ever have to convince someone of something is if they do not trust that thing to be true. Sal, if you are in an argument with your friend, if you're in a conversation with your spouse, if I'm in a conversation with you, if I'm in a conversation with a friend, if I get to convincing them, no, I promise, no, believe me, no, I guarantee, it's because they don't fully trust what is already expected.
Yeah.
I don't even think Mike McCarthy trusts these Dallas Cowboys against Washington, because if he did, he wouldn't have to go out there making proclamations in Week 14. Who makes guaranteed proclamations in Week 14? This isn't the Super Bowl. It's the NFC Championship game. It's not even a playoff game. This is not a one-and-done type of accomplishment. He made a proclamation in Week 14 because I don't even think Mike McCarthy trusts his own team, nor trusts himself. So why would I trust a team that don't trust themselves? I trust Washington in this instance.
Oh, man. You ever have somebody do something for you didn't ask for? Like Mike McCarthy guaranteeing a game. And now that's an indictment on those he proclaimed to go out there and win and have victory when they didn't ask for that. Because all their efforts, all their action says, we think we're going to win. Your preparation is your separation. Your preparation tells you that's the proclamation, we're going to win. Sports is built off of that conversation in the mind of all of us. We all think we're going to win. Why are we putting in all this work if we think we're going to lose? So all he did was put a voice, as Dak Prescott said, to what everyone was already thinking. But we didn't ask him to do it, but doesn't mean he's wrong for doing just that same thing. So I look at this situation, let's get to the trust, man, because Mike McCarthy did something that maybe no one wanted to do, but they all are doing in action. So we didn't want to say it, we just wanted to go out there and display it. All right, we do both now because Coach is leading the charge. But this is where your trust should go, because you really have to look at trust like in any relationship. It's based on what we've done. What have the Washington football team done against the Dallas Cowboys? You trust that? Taylor Heineke against the Dallas Cowboys. You trust that? But then I look at the teams. Okay, let's not play this whole matchup of, well, Buffalo lost to Jacksonville, but then Jacksonville beat them, so therefore we're going to be like, I don't want to play that game. I want to play this game. Who has a better offense? Better scoring offense, better passing offense, better rush offense, better red zone scoring, better touchdown percentage, better at giving the ball away, taking the ball away, third down defense, sacks. Like, Dallas Cowboys wiping the floor with this team in terms of statistics and ranks, and they also beating them in record. They're 2 up with 2 games to face them. You blink, this could be 4 up by the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what you trust because I don't see anything in the resume that should warrant your trust.
Let's start here. What makes fights?
What makes fights?
Yes, sir.
Boxing matches or real fights? Like
boxing matches. The phrase styles.
Mano y mano. Like, I'm thinking about you. The sweet science.
Styles make fights. That's what you tell me. That's what we know. That's how it goes down. Fights. It's not necessarily about all these Cowboys' amazing individual statistics. It comes down to what's up with these matchups on that day.
Let's go.
And I think Washington will match up fairly well, particularly because the Cowboys, they got to figure out what they can do with this run. But Washington, what they do best is stop the run. But really, Sel, let me break it down for you like this. The Panthers started the season 3-0, but would you say right now they're a good football team?
No.
Carolina Panthers. No, sir. Detroit Lions. Would you say they're a good football team?
You're going to know you've been in a fight, but you're going to win.
The Rams, right now, are they a good football team in your opinion?
Sputtering.
Seahawks, they a good football team right now. New York Giants.
Huh? What are we doing?
The reason I tell you this is because the Lions, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Giants, the Panthers, and the Cowboys are the only team since week 8 with 3 losses in the NFC.
Okay.
Giants, Cowboys, Rams, Lions, Seahawks, and Panthers. We know those teams are not good teams. The Lions, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Giants, the Panthers. So if you look at the Cowboys and you realize, wait a second, they are in the same space as the Lions, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Panthers, the Cowboys, and we know none of those teams are presently good teams. Then what does that tell you about the Dallas Cowboys? Now, we know the Panthers used to be a good team. Week 3 of the season, we came out there and said, Panthers and Broncos, contenders, pretenders. I said they were pretenders. Seahawks used to be a good team. Rams, they're still a good team to me one day, but to your point, right now they're not a great team. Cowboys are in that same company, big dog. It's not about the Cowboys' overall seasonal statistics. Where do the Cowboys rank right now? What is Dak Prescott looking like right now? Dak Prescott is not that same Dak. The Cowboys are not the same Cowboys. And Washington is actually right now a better team. So all those statistics sound great in totality, but this game on Sunday isn't about totality. This game on Sunday is about recent history, and really it's about Sunday.
Well, see, that's the thing. We can't lie to people. It's not about recent history. It's not about totality, because then you will see Jacksonville beat Buffalo on any given Sunday. So on any given Sunday, if we're going to have that conversation, all these teams are disposable. All these teams can be beaten. But then we're going to have this conversation of trust. Where are you going to put your trust in what team? Bring up the Buffalo-Jacksonville game again. You bring up Tampa Bay versus Washington. Who are you trusting in that situation? Tampa Bay. Who won? Washington. So why did you trust Tampa Bay? It's the same reason I trust the Dallas Cowboys, because they're a better team. It's just like the record says it, the statistics say it. Now, can something upset that apple cart? Absolutely. Taylor Heineke is not a scrub. Washington football team, they're fighting. But at the same time, trust. It can't be something that you wish for. It can't be something you hope for. It can't be something that is not seen. It's trust. Actually, we have experience. I trust you, big dog, because we work together. I ain't going to just walk up to somebody, and first show we ever do together, and trust them. I'm going to be watching them. Hairs on edge, like, make sure we get our rhythm, make sure we get our chemistry, make sure I understand where they're coming from. But you and I, we got experience. Cowboys, they got experience with the Washington team, mopping the floor with they sorry selves. So if you look at the situation, 7-1, give me that. What does Washington give you in any kind of consideration of history, resume against the Cowboys that gives you trust?
So do you not at all fear the aspect that the Cowboys, as of late, just aren't very good?
What you mean?
They're just not. They're 3-3 in their last 6. They've lost 3 of their last 5. Since the bye week, they're 3-3. They started off 5-1, and right now they're sitting at 8-4. The fact of the matter is, they're actually just not that good right now, yet you're still bestowing so much faith in them as if they're the same 5-1 Cowboys.
No.
Meanwhile, Washington right now actually is very good. That's where the disconnect lies with me and you. Is I'm looking at Basel, this Cowboys team you're putting this faith in, they're not who you think they are. It's like that former lover. It's like, they're not who you think they are. You told me, broke up with one of them, y'all tried to get back together. And then it was like, wait, we're very different people.
Yes.
I think the Cowboys are a very different team than the team we fell in love with through 6 weeks of the season. I'm just come to that reality. It appears you might be denying that reality.
Oh, really?
Or we're somewhere in the middle.
No, we're not in the middle. What I do is look at where the team is. And the Cowboys are a better team. Now, are they cooling off at that higher place that they are? Yes. And is another team heating up at a lower place? Yes. But you have to also absolutely just look at where they are. And the Dallas Cowboys are a better team because of record, because of stats, and just because of performances. Now, I love how in a race, someone can have the lead, and then they start looking around, they start chilling. Whatever may happen, they get distracted. They're not running as fast, and you see someone closing. You're telling me right now you trust the person that's closing on the person who has a lead. I don't. You know why? Because he has a lead for a reason. And this lead in this race, we too close to the finish line. And I know that the Dallas Cowboys have history against that opponent. I know that the Dallas Cowboys have that kick. And I know the Dallas Cowboys only lost to that team 1 time out of 8.
Let's stay here. Let's stay in your lane.
Let's stay in my lane.
Literally speaking, figuratively speaking.
Let's go.
In track, you can tell, usually I watch an 800-meter race. This is the most definitive time it is to tell. And if you're watching an 800-meter race, 2 laps for y'all at home aren't super track fans, you can tell about 300 meters in my opinion, who will win that race.
Really?
Especially if there are 3 people ahead of the pack and everybody else is behind, and you only have to decide between those 3, you can typically tell. Here's why. I look at form, Sel. I look at which runner can sustain the form in which they're running for the longest. So if the person in front head is all this way and arms are all that way, I'm like, they're not going to win because they are expending too much energy. That is not sustainable. So if there is a person 5, even 10 meters behind them, but they're just chilling, don't even look like they're expending that much energy, I will go ahead and predict them. I will trust that they will win that race because it's not about where are you right now. It's about, based on how you look, based on your body of work, literally, presently, where are you going to go? I know you've been in several races or you've watched several races where you see coming out that last bend in a 400 meters, you're like, oh, you know what? Allison Felix may not be ahead, but I know she's going to win because she is keeping form that other person's form is breaking. The Cowboys' form, it appears to be breaking. Dak Prescott, his form appears to be breaking. He started out 20 touchdowns, 4 picks. As of late, I believe he has 4 touchdowns, 4 picks these last 3-4 weeks of the season. So I'm looking at Dak's form, and it looks like it's breaking. I'm looking at Washington's form. It looks like they're holding stride. So in your track analogy, that's where I'm like, wait, Sel, you've been here before. You've been here in other sports where you say, nah, you know what? They're ahead, but their form is breaking. Let me go with the person in second because I trust they can catch him.
Oh, really? Let's torture this one right here. 17-15, 17-15, Seahawks, Raiders. You trust that form? You trust that? Because how it looks, right? Funny, you bring up track, I bring up track. Let's talk track. Michael Johnson had the worst form they said ever. They tried to correct that guy all the way through the ranks. Michael Johnson running like this. They said, man, that's not how you run. And he said, just watch this. Because you got caught up, and I think right now you're getting caught up in this team, the Washington football team, in how it looks. Last time I checked, looks are deceiving. If you look at the Dallas Cowboys and you look at them as a team, as a collective, getting healthy at this moment right now, we're going to know who to trust. It's going to be the one who crosses the finish line, at least the one who's had the gold on 7 of 8 times.